This is something that's going to make a lot of us who are people and who have this fear of technology breathe a sigh of relief. I have interviewed the top people, the top AI engineers, and they have said the people that are going to win in this next stage of AI-powered whatever, ironically, are those who are the most human-powered and centered. The raw ingredients of your experience, of your relationships, of your knowledge, of the things that are being captured on this beautiful thing called an iPhone. The AI can take your words, can take everything that you have and turn it into the best TikToks and articles and GMB posts and ads and whatever derivative piece of content is. Because the AI is so good at the technology pieces, there is no technology advantage anymore.
Hey there, welcome to the Chris and Garry Show. I'm Chris Scott, and normally I would be joined by my partner in crime, Garry Kreth, but he's on vacation today. So instead, I have somebody way more awesome, way more cool than Garry to talk with us today. I've got Dennis Yu. Dennis Yu is, actually sometimes you go by Coach Dennis Yu, but I know you as the following, the CEO of Blitz Metrics, and the guy who's going to create 1 million jobs, of which you've already created like 250,000 jobs. I know that, you've written textbooks that have been featured in like hundreds and hundreds of universities when it comes to marketing. So when I have marketing questions, I usually come to you. Just so you guys know, if you followed any of our information in the past, Dennis is the author, creator of the $1 a Day Marketing Strategies. He's the creator of the 1-minute video strategies, as well as the Content Factory. So Dennis, welcome to the Chris and Garry Show.
Good to see you again, Chris.
Yeah, so let's talk about a very important question that we have in real estate, and it's this. How can ChatGPT or artificial intelligence or AI, how can ChatGPT get us more listings, get us more leads? I think that's the burning question for us in real estate is, can these tools or this tool or these tools help us get listings?
Let's talk about today how ChatGPT is going to drive leads and listings, and let's show some real practical examples. We can talk theoretically about the Matrix and Hollywood and how the robots are going to exterminate humanity, which is fun. And I can demonstrate all kinds of other AI tools. I spent the last year with the founders of a lot of these tools. I've been to these conferences, and all kinds of confusion has ensued. Every day there's these new tools, but there's nothing better than practically showing how to do it. And I think you'll find through live demonstration, as we're going to use ChatGPT to show how to drive these leads, that it's really just simple conversations and simple things that help you as a listings agent be known on the internet. So before I do that, I want to just ask you one thing, which is kind of an obvious question, but most people are going to miss this. Where is the information coming from that ChatGPT is using?
I would imagine it's coming from the internet somewhere, some way, shape, or form. And I think that's a lot of discussion too around, like the privacy issues of where is this information coming from and where is it going for that matter, right? So where is it coming from?
It's coming from Google. The same thing that Google is using. It's scraping the internet, people's websites and social medias and Twitter, books and videos. And it's all this information. It's read every book I've written, all these videos. It's very smart. Here's the most brain dead, obvious, hit me on the head thing about real estate agents. I don't know anything about you. So if I come here to Bard, so I do a search on who is Dennis Yu, and it shows this robust answer, right? And I can do the same thing. I'm not trying to boast. I'm just showing, we live by example, okay? You don't have to be a celebrity. A lot of people get that part wrong too. And so it knows, right? And I could do the same thing, and I'll say, who is Chris Scott of Paperless Agent? And you do this with your name. Everyone here, do this with your name. And then start getting in the shoes of the folks with listings. Here it is. President, co-owner, Paperless Agent, blah, 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 right?
Hey, it knows
You're
me.
There. Yeah, okay. Well, now, why do you think that is?
It scraped the internet. This must be information about me that's online somewhere.
Okay, and now I'm going to be cynical. I'm going to pretend to be an agent. So there are a lot of people, hawking real estate advice to listings agents, okay? Listing agents, why should I listen to Chris, right? Now I'm having a conversation. I'm not using it like a search engine, even though I technically am using the search engine. Okay. Why should we use him? But he's a trusted source for these reasons. You see this here? And here's some of the things that they do. Okay. Listen to this. This is Google saying this. Have you ever heard Google say this? If you're a listing agent who wants to use technology and online marketing to sell more homes, I highly recommend checking out Chris Scott's work. He is a trusted source of advice that can help you grow your business.
If Google would only say that all the time for me, that would be a great thing. The way you're using it, or the way you're showing this, is everybody ought to at least do one thing, which is go to ChatGPT and ask it who is, and insert your name to see, does it know anything about you? Is that going to be then a reflection of how your reputation is online in some ways?
What do you think?
I'm going to have to say yes.
Now, digital marketing has always been about, you Google yourself to see like, how are you doing? You search for yourself on Facebook. You search for yourself on any of these other networks. So I can come here and I can say Chris Scott, right? And I can see a public figure. And here it is. I teach real estate professionals how to stand out. Oh, look, here's this one from a year ago. We're hanging out, right?
Hey, I'm wearing the same shirt.
And there's chubby Dennis. I weigh 51 pounds less than this, right? Now, let me ask you a question, which is, you know the answer, but most people don't. So this picture of us hanging out in Austin, it's tagged as Austin. All these other people are liking and commenting on it. How is the fact that you are demonstrating a relationship, or I'm demonstrating that, you and I are in Austin, we're eating food, we're doing something, right? How is that going to impact what ChatGPT and all the different versions of ChatGPT are doing and seeing?
I would have to imagine this factors into the math of who the real you is, right? Like from you can get a Google search of, who's Chris. If I were to go to Google, and I do this frequently, it's like, who's Chris Scott? And you get a lot of the factoids reporting back from Google. And a lot of that's just the search engine aspects of it. And maybe some YouTube videos, of me will pop up.
Yeah.
But you don't get to know, like in this, you're seeing the relationships, you're seeing the connections. You're seeing that you and I hang out. You see me and Kyle hanging out. It's a lot more, is the word visceral, experiential? I don't know what the word is, but it's more concrete, like in a different way, I guess. I've heard you talk before about how one can use ChatGPT as more of an advisor as opposed to an assistant. And I know in real estate, when I heard about ChatGPT and all these other tools, my first response was, oh, great, I can have ChatGPT do some of my marketing for me, right? If you were to ask me, several months ago, hey, can ChatGPT get me listings? My answer would be, well, ChatGPT can help me do better marketing, and that marketing can get me listings. And that's all true. But what you're using it for is that more of an advisor as opposed to an assistant.
Yeah. So let's just do something for fun as an example of what not to do. Okay. I'm gonna pretend to be a novice, and I'm gonna make a very common mistake, which everyone's making. So let's say you and your son are doing karate, right? And we want to teach karate store owners how to do better marketing. I don't know, like what's the problem you want to help them with?
I get more students. That's usually what, most of those martial arts schools, karate dojos, they're always looking for more students, recruiting students. Just like real estate agents, looking to recruit more clients, looking to recruit more seller clients.
More students, okay. And what's a word that you use in karate? Any kind of word?
Dojo, let's see, martial arts, karate,
dojo.
Kata.
Great acronym from the word dojo to frame a program to help them. Okay. And then it's going to go ahead and do that using dojo. A lot of people don't realize you can ask it to do more than information gathering kinds of things.
Interesting.
So let's see. Discover. That's
good.
Whoa,
look at that.
It can come up with logos and names. I mean, it's because it does images too. I mean, it does everything, right? But this is the wrong way of using. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's not the most intelligent way of using the tool.
It still looks pretty. I mean, the fact that it's
still great.
It's built pretty. It appears to be very creative, right?
Yeah.
So let's connect this back to real estate. If I wanted to be able to, can this help me? I'm just looking at this, and all of a sudden, a bunch of creative ideas came into mind on ways for me creating advertisements, creating social media posts. Instead of me asking it to do something, this is actually giving me ideas on other things to go do.
Yeah.
It's similar to what you're talking about.
So choose any city. Name a city.
Austin. I'm here in Austin, Texas.
So let's go Austin real estate agent, or sell my home in Austin. Okay. Something like that, right? What's something you want to rank on? Sell my home in Austin, Texas. Okay. Something you want to be there when someone types that in, right? Okay. There's some ads. Now, within Austin, there's a lot of neighborhoods. It's not just Austin. So you can see that there's ads here, and here's people also ask. So if you want to rank on this term, which is actually not very difficult at all, you think it'd be, there's all these related terms. Now, this is like right in your face. People are missing this. You see this? People also ask. They're also asking, are the home prices dropping? How do you sell a house? What's the fastest way to sell a house in Texas? What is it a good time? What's going on with the market? What about the interest rates and all this, right? You see, as I click on one, it starts showing all these other things. Now, everyone else as a listings agent, are they answering these questions?
No.
And you and I know from having taught this many times, what's my answer here? If you want to rank on this, sell my home in Austin, Google's saying people are also searching for these things. If you make 1-minute videos against these answers, then you're sending Google the signal. And the number one way you're beating everyone in digital and SEO and all that is not because you're sophisticated. It's because you simply are there. 99% of your competition is not there. They're out there knocking on doors and doing whatever real estate agents like to do to build relationships, which is great. But it's not sending a signal, back to point number one we were talking about, for Google and ChatGPT to help you, right? You see this information? So let's just say, though, and I'll make the classic mistake using ChatGPT to drive leads. Let's say, you know what? These are all great questions, right? And look, somebody's got this answer. Here's the 7 steps or whatever it is, right? So what they do, tell me why this is wrong. What they do is they come in and they'll say, write me a web page for an Austin real estate agent. I mean, tell me, it seemed to make sense, right? Agent answering the question. What was the question? How to sell my home in Austin. Oh, right. Not just write me a web page. I'm going to be real specific, SEO friendly, right?
Because you want the Google juice.
Yeah. So, and then this is optional. And people say it doesn't matter, but I find it sort of does. I say please in front of it.
Courtesy always goes a long way, even with AI,
robot,
just in case.
Okay. So now it writes it even gives you, like, if you want the H1 tags and images, and this is not bad. And I could also say, I want a better title. Now, notice it's already building in SEO friendly bits because it's using the keywords we want to rank on in the title, right? And then it's writing this whole article, right? I want a better title. And please write in the voice of Tom Ferry. I'm just doing better and better. I'm starting out at noob and I'm moving up to expert, right? So it's writing this whole answer. And the question is this answer as good or better than these other people that are answering these questions?
It seems like Google would probably have a hard time just discerning, is this content better than this based on the words alone, right?
So right now, this novice technique that I'm showing you, which is go ahead and write a web page about this, and do it and not just for Austin, and I can do this for each neighborhood. So do it for what neighborhood within Austin?
There's Circle C is a good one. It's pretty
Spell
big.
that.
It just circle and C. And the
C.
circle and the letter C.
Circle C. So now I'm doing this, and then I can do it for each of these neighborhoods, right? Now, before I have it generate, what is wrong with what I'm doing here, where I just said, hey, go ahead and write me this article, and it actually does work right now. If I want to rank for Austin real estate area, how to sell my home in Austin, right? This actually is not bad. But what is wrong with this?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, but as I look at this, to me, there's nothing to differentiate this from all the other SEO optimized articles answering that question. right? I mean, that question, I'm sure a lot of people can come up and have come up with that answer. If you were to do a search on Google results, I'm sure a gajillion will show up of them related to that search term or those keywords. So my question would be, how does this information stand out versus the other stuff?
You can't beat the robot playing chess, right? You can't beat the robot figuring out using Google Maps how to, with traffic and all that. Like the robot's going to beat us at that, right? So we're not going to try to beat the robot at its own game. But like you said, the key to standing out is the robot, if it doesn't know who you are, like here it's saying, why choose your name for selling your Austin real estate? As an Austin native with X years in real estate, I offer unmatched blah, blah, blah. My name is insert your name. It's just like, it's Mad Libs. So it doesn't have this information about you, right? And I showed this example intentionally not giving it any information about who I am, right? I'm Jane Smith and I have 14 years of experience and my website is this, and here's some other information about me. Now use that information to answer this question. That's a smarter answer, right?
Well, if you start to add that sort of personal detail to the prompt, then it can produce a higher quality output, right?
Now, all of these moths that are going to the flame, they're finding that this technique here, this simple technique of just write a page about this and now do it for Circle C and now do it in the voice of Tom Ferry, right? They find it works. And it works because no one else is, the masses haven't caught on. But what do you think in a year from now, when everyone else is using this technique, is it going to work anymore?
I would imagine Google will start filtering these results because it's all going to sound the same to Google.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Or you would have a hard time climbing to the top of those search results.
Everyone else is astroturfing their place out, and everyone else is generating hundreds of web pages that are really helpful, and us as humans can't really buy a better thing like this. So we could say Circle C, and I'll say, you can always talk back. So this is okay, but it said, hi, Tom Ferry here. I'm not Tom Ferry. I don't get in trouble here. But I could say, make sure to include details of this neighborhood, right? So it's better. And don't mention or don't pretend to be Tom Ferry. Just write in his style. So notice that I'm continuing to iterate. I'm not just taking the first thing it says, right? So that's why it's conversational. I'm continuing to improve. But even still, this is not pro. This technique I'm showing you will work for another year.
So this isn't pro, because this is probably cutting edge for most people right now, right? To be able to think about, what details should be included with this prompt? Thinking about, hey, I'm going to take a more conversational approach to iterate to the output that I want. Right. So to me, that's high level for most people today, but you said that's not quite pro level.
No, this is still very noob, amateur, what I'm doing here. We're adding in layers of like thought, if you will. So it's better here because it's talking about Gray Rock Golf Club. Do you know where that is? Circle C Tennis Club and other things here to make it better, right? But this violates Google standards that they released a few months ago called EEAT.
What's that?
And it used to be expertise, authority, trust. That was EAT, and that worked for years. But because of ChatGPT, they've added that extra E, and that extra E stands for experience. So you have to put in your experience, and that answers your question of how do you stand out. Standing out means I need to know about other homes in the area that you've sold. I need to know something about you. The fundamental mistake that I'm making here is this is called synthetic content, meaning it's just out of thin air. It's just generating words, right? How do you think that changes? If I go to my Google Photos or Apple Photos, you know how it automatically saves to your phone, right? And I type in Austin. And Austin, downtown Austin, North Austin, Austin at the airport, okay? That little like teardrop, that's the location, right? So these are all the things that are auto-tagged as Austin off of my phone automatically, right? There's me and Brian Eisenberg. There's like one of you and me here. And I was eating at Perry's, their Friday pork chop special thing. Look at that. Yeah. Me and Lauren Tickner, and we're in Austin. Here we're at Voodoo Donut, right? These are all, so you can see here, these are classic sorts of play. You can see where it is, right? All this information was taken on an iPhone 14 Pro Max, all this information, right? And if we go back and we look at all this information that I have. Oh, look, there's you and me, right? This one with you and me. And here's another one from 4 years ago. All of these pieces are automatically labeled. What if, instead of just feeding the AI, hey, the prompt is when you're giving it instructions. Oh, just go ahead and write this thing about this. And here's some information to try to make this. Let me just give you a little more background information so you can write this web page or social media post or whatever. What if instead I input photos and videos and had it work from there?
How would you do that?
Well, I can upload it. And I can also use these other tools, like Descript, and there's tools that will chop it up into YouTube videos. There's like 100 every day. There's like another 3 or 4 tools that people are showing that do this. And the tools we're using today are not going to be the same tools in 6 months. So they just get better and better. That's where the AI is going. But the point is that when we say ChatGPT, look, I can upload a freaking image here, right? See, I can upload a screenshot and say, tell me something about, this and that. Or make an image like this, but make it about, promoting this thing here. So that way we don't use stock art, right? So if I take this, let's just take a video. So here's a video of me at Digital Marketer. There's a bunch of videos of me at Digital Marketer, it's the place people are learning digital marketing, right? And I can run it through any kind of tool to transcribe it, grab the words out of it. I can take this video. This is where people are going to have to pay real close attention. Maybe press rewind. I'm going to go quick. They take this video and then they turn it into a YouTube. They turn it into a social media snippet. They turn it into a web page. They post it to their GMB. They're taking this one video and making 10 pieces of content out of it. The AI tools can do that automatically now, right? For example, my favorite tool right now is Descript because it's a Swiss Army knife of all this. So I can take any one of these videos, and you can see I've got thousands here. We have virtual assistants to do it, but I had to do it first myself just to demonstrate that, I can do it. Any of these videos here, you can see that I can publish them as anything that I want. As a web link, as a YouTube, as a podcast, I can go to any of these other sorts of tools, right? Add in captions, imagery. So I could grab, see, look, this is literally just raw video that's uploaded, and then I had the thing automatically add the captions. The best one on mobile, by the way, is CapCut, right? That's the number one mobile video editing, whatever you want to call it, software. Do you know who makes CapCut?
Oh, I think you just told me this the other day. TikTok, I did not know that.
TikTok. Oh, imagine that. And what did YouTube just launch last week? A set of video editing tools and all that. Why? Because they want to make it super easy so that when you go to YouTube, all the stuff is showing up, okay? So you can see like the kinds of things that I'm looking at. But now, look, I've been doing a lot of slam dunk stuff, right? And I ran a marathon, so it's showing me things related to AlphaFly, which is this shoe that Nike's come out with, which lets you run forever. But you can see, where do you think these videos are coming from? And what do you think is processing all these videos?
Where? Is it, you're just chunking those into Descript and...
Yeah, or CapCut or these other tools.
And then
you just grab it off your phone and just one click, it turns into whatever you want, right? And that's what we're doing here.
So can we connect that? Because I've heard you talk about how relationships and experiences equal real stories.
Yeah.
And for most people, if you were to say something like that, you're going to ask the question, what does that have to do with marketing? What does that have to do with, helping me sell real estate? What does that have to do with any of this information? How does this help me with SEO stories? But it's so important.
Yeah.
From what
Let me show you something here that will make it all make sense. So I intentionally was showing that there's all these cool little technical things, and you could follow all the tactical things and find that it works. But I want everyone to step back a moment. Let's go to 40,000 feet just for a moment. So these 4 stages we've talked about in the Content Factory. The first stage is the actual relationships and the expertise and where you are and pictures and images. And that we like to capture on our iPhones. And for some reason, iPhones just seem to perform better than Android. No offense. It just does. Okay. Just do it, right? Pay Steve Jobs or whoever the money, So So you're producing this, and you're doing this as you are out at Whole Foods, as you are, doing
on a listing appointment, previewing some real estate.
Yeah, you're doing you're going about doing your job because you're trying to capture this signal that you are a great listings agent, that you know the neighborhood, that you know how to create a great listings presentation, that that your vibe, all these things about who you are, right? And if that's being captured, this is a little esoteric, but that can then be fed into these AI-driven tools like ChatGPT in that second phase, that red box process. So when you process it in these tools, then the tool can take that video that you made once, or pictures or images, and assemble. So look, I'll show you one of my favorite hacks, all right? So let's go to my Facebook, whatever, it doesn't really matter, or LinkedIn. Here's a post. And it's a decent post, right? About what Dollar Day is, and you know what that is. And now I'm going to say, you're giving instruction. I'm going to paste in something I wrote about Dollar Day. Now, write a LinkedIn post based on this in my voice, and be sure to give me 5 snappy, you ought to be specific, don't say a few, 5 snappy opening hooks. And if you want acknowledgement, you can just say, okay, comma, okay, and say, yeah, sure, okay, and there it is. Here it is. Okay, so now I'm repurposing content. So here's a post I wrote, or here's the transcript. You understand, I can take this transcript off of a video.
So this was a transcript from a video that you were then happened to be on social media. Now we're dropping it into ChatGPT and asking it to write a LinkedIn post. But we're asking to improve on it a little bit too, right?
And then I'll say, now write 5 tweets promoting it in the using the style of Alex Hermosi and Chris Scott of Paperless Agent. Now I can say that. Why? Because it knows who these folks are, right? So here it is. Now it gave me the 5 hooks. And these are good. So I can take any content and say, write some hooks based on this. Write me, make it into a web page. Because here's my transcription. I'm saying ums and ahs, and it's not as clear because it's voice. And it's making it better, right?
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Okay.
So if you think about it, if you're selling real estate, you have opportunities to capture video all the time.
That's
it
right.
just has to be more of a mindset, right? You're showing a home, that's an opportunity. You're previewing some inventory, that's an opportunity. You're working with a client, there's an opportunity. Just talking and hanging out with a client, there's an opportunity. It's just more of thinking about, I should capture some video, talking with this person. And then posting that, sharing that, making videos of it. And then all of a sudden you have the raw material to then create high quality marketing, right? So now all of a sudden you're creating much higher quality marketing because you've incorporated these experiences, these real stories in who we are. And now all of a sudden you have something that differentiates on Google for Google to give you that love so that you can rank on those higher terms, because now you're standing out in a way that no one else is.
Thus, you're not making content for YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or your email newsletter or chat, or you're not making content for any of these places here in the 3rd stage. What you said, which is right on, is because you had the raw inputs here in stage 1, the AI tools can chop it up and do all kinds of magical things in a few clicks so that you can live in all these other places and then be able to rank in Google, not because you were trying to trick the engine, but because you had the raw materials of your expertise. These little 15-second videos, little pictures, could have been years ago for other people if you have a larger team, right? You're just taking all this kind of stuff and letting the AI turn that into content for you, as you can see here. And then when you have that video content, ideally you start with video, but you can also write it from nothing, which is what I showed you, which works for now, but soon it won't. And you can say, now write it from these other angles. Now make a picture about it. Now, so here, let's say we have it as a YouTube video, and we could go look at, some videos that I've made. And sometimes I'll make these long webinars. I have a whole whatever of being windy. So there's, long-winded. So here's all these things, like it's for internal like Zoom calls or whatever, where I'm explaining stuff and we're just running it into ChatGPT and saying, all right, just go ahead and restructure. I know this is like this wandering kind of Zoom call, but can you just go ahead and structure it into 5 points and then turn those into articles and then link between them and then turn into a guest post on so-and-so's place? You see what I'm saying?
It's interesting. I've heard recently that now and in the future, if you want to get ranked on Google, if you want to get found on Google, that you have to start thinking like a brand, because, and you tell me if this is right, but that Google is starting to prioritize brands in search rankings because they feel like they can trust brands more than people are not brands. And what it looks like is you're starting to act as a personal brand by giving, ChatGPT all of these personal experiences, these stories, so that you can rep yourself as a brand, as a real person, instead of just some bot on the internet.
Yeah. Okay, so I just did a search on Chris Scott Paperless Agent. Now, what's going on here when I search for Chris Scott Paperless Agent? It's got these boxes. Your LinkedIn, this is another Chris Scott. Shame on this guy.
He wrote a book too, huh?
And it says this other information. So this looks like some other Chris. So it's a little confused, isn't it?
A little bit. I mean, that's definitely me. Like those are the places that I've been. I was a software developer. I worked with Buffini. I worked at Sharfin. I am the author of a book. So yeah, most of that is me, except for that one photo.
So it's close. But the reason why this is showing up and has these components, and look at these, what's the login? I'm sure, there's a lot of people trying to figure out how to log in, reviews, right? It's because you have created this corroborating signal that's verified in so many different places, right? You see this? So it's pulling it from all these places. So simply taking your info, there's your location, right? Is that where you currently are?
Yep.
If it's still valid. So when you create this, it's like a vote. If everyone else is singing the same tune, then Google wants to show that. And so it's less about, being a brand and more about creating a signal that is trusted because it's coming from many places and saying the same thing. Now, just typing in Dennis, it's already showing, you see the typed search results, net worth. A lot of people keep asking that question the last few years. Dollar Day Strategy, Content Factory, Facebook ads, like all these things. And then it shows this, right? Most people, when you do a search on their name, it doesn't show this box with their face next to it. But when you do it right and you feed the information in, using ChatGPT to help you distribute that same content across many places, you get this, which is called a knowledge panel. And mine's purple right now. Unfortunately, you can't change the, color. But notice that it's showing stuff from LinkedIn. It's showing my books. It's showing my different social profiles. It's showing here's other people that are like me, right? There's all this. There's highlights from this one video, right? All this stuff, my Amazon book. And then look across the top here. Normally when you do this, it says like news and media and sports and stuff like that across the top. But now it says Blitz Metrics and Wikipedia and Content Factory.
Those are like specific to you. Those are links specific to you and you're part of your message, right? What you talk about.
Let me ask you, just as a kind of like a test of comprehension of all the things that we've talked about today. If people are searching for your name, your company name, and you want to show up on the keywords that you want, here, like, who's the CEO? What's the revenue? Blitz Metrics. People ask these kinds of questions. Right? Hear this factual information. How do I show this amazing result so that I can get more listings and show up better as a real estate agent when people want to sell their home? How do I get something like this? And how is this better than just random search results that you would have seen?
Well, it seems like I need to start capturing my experiences in the roles that I have that I want to rank for. Ultimately, let's say I wanted to get acknowledged as the listing agent, then I need to start getting more video and more content of me being a listing agent.
Yeah.
And then creating that content and using these AI tools. So it's not just ChatGPT, right? Like we're using that to encompass a broad range of tools. You've talked about Descript, we've talked about, memories, some Facebook and Google, but we're taking this content then and feeding it to the tools,
Yeah.
and then putting that onto putting it on YouTube, putting it on social media, putting it out there on the internet, and so that all of these signals start to feed the AI, feed the
Yeah.
engines, so
Yeah.
that they recognize who we are, what we are about, and then can communicate that. Is that the essence?
Yeah, that's
of
right
what-
on. And then the last piece, that yellow box, orangish box at the end, when I promote it for $1 a day, I'm not doing it to try to get famous or get more impressions. I'm doing it because if the content is doing well and people actually engage on the videos, Google and Facebook and all these other networks notice that it's higher engagement and it sends a ranking signal, right? If my content sucks, and that's why we do dollar a day to test. If it sucks and, I thought it was clever, but people didn't stay on the webpage, people didn't stay and watch the video, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or wherever it was, then that hurts me, right? But if I put a few out there and one of them people just really resonate with, I should put $1 a day to try to get more people engaging, because it's something about the way that you walk through the house, something about your listings presentation, something about the way you interact with that client, something about that particular home, just something, right? About that neighborhood. I don't know, whatever it is, right? You can figure out what it is. That's something that's working, and I should have the system continue to drive more traffic to that. And if I repurposed it, stage 2 in the red, and to allow me to push it to Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all these places, then I can push it in the network where it's driving the better. If it's just somehow doing better on YouTube, then I'll push more on YouTube. If a certain piece of content's doing better in Facebook or doing better in GMB, that I'm going to let the system do the work for me, if that makes sense, right?
So I have a question for you, and we can start, as we close, I want to ask you this question because you mentioned this before when we were talking, and I just wanted you to expand on it, because as someone in real estate, I feel like real estate is should be a very relational business. At least most people who are successful in it are less transactional, a little bit more relational. Of course, there's always exceptions to that rule. But you had mentioned the other day that people who are people, relational people, are going to win the most with ChatGPT and these AI tools.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that and relate it back to what we've just shared today?
This is something that's going to make a lot of us who are people and who have this fear of technology breathe a sigh of relief. I have interviewed the top AI engineers, and they have said the people that are going to win in this next stage of AI-powered whatever, ironically, are those who are the most human-powered and centered. And that seems counterintuitive, because you would think like whoever the best programmer and AI person
the
is,
engineers and all that kind of stuff.
Like these guys are like keeping on top of all the latest, like how do I keep up with all this AI stuff? I'm going to be left behind. Just like, the internet, all these new things happen. I got left behind. This is a little bit different, because the raw ingredients of your experience, of your relationships, of your knowledge, of the things that are being captured on this beautiful thing called an iPhone.
No.
The AI tool is a technology level playing fielder creator, whatever you want to call it, right? As long as you can get your stuff into whatever the latest tool, we don't have to keep changing tools all the time. Just get it in the ChatGPT. The AI it creates a level playing field. The AI can take your words, can take everything that you have and turn it into the best TikToks and articles and GMB posts and ads and whatever derivative piece of content is. Okay. If you start with quality ingredients, you don't have to be a fantastic cook, because you got Gordon Ramsay there. The AI, Gordon Ramsay is going to turn it into whatever. But if you give it a bunch of bad ingredients like leftover hot dog stuff, I mean, there's only so much the AI can do, right? So because the AI is so good at the technology pieces, you have there is no technology advantage anymore. Okay.
Right. So
can I beat the AI in making ads? Like I used to be really good at ads. I made a career doing that. Targeting, writing all copy, all these things. I used to be really good at this, Chris. It's so sad. But the AI can do a better job at playing chess than you can, right? So how do you win? You need to make sure the AI, it's this simple. The AI needs to see what you're doing. You need to feed the AI pictures, videos, and know, like, whenever you have just these lightweight moments, you're at the coffee shop and you have some idea, like, just talk about that.
No, it's interesting. What you're saying is that because these tools basically democratize technology, they simplify it, is that the real competitive advantage, and particularly for those of us who are people in real estate, is actually our relationships and our experiences and our willingness to put it online, right? Like all of a sudden, we can take that, all of a sudden, every relationship that we have becomes an asset because we can co-create content that is going to feed the engine that's going to raise your profile online. And
That's the inventory. Now, if your inventory, your
Yep.
bank account is, low because you haven't put it in there, everything's a deposit. Every every time you meet someone, every time, you're developing a relationship, you're adding, bank account. It's like, I think of all things as like adding to the emotional bank account, to relationship bank account. I know this is sort of theoretical, but that is absolutely the way the top AI engineers are thinking about this.
Yeah.
So if there's a technology hurdle, notice, was it difficult for us to have a conversation with ChatGPT?
No, that was pretty easy.
Was it because there was a secret prompt and you had to upload this magic phrase to get it to spit out the good content?
You just typed in there like you were talking to it.
And if I didn't like the thing, I'm like, no, I don't like it like that. Make it another way.
Interesting.
So as long as you understand that there are 4 phases in getting the content out there, you will win in SEO and social media and ads and websites and email and all of these things at the same time. It's incredible. And you can even ask Chris Scott or me questions and it will answer it. So you don't even have to ask Dennis Yu. What I would do, and I've done this live many times, I've done it on stage in front of thousands of people. Someone will ask a question and I'll say, okay, blah, 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 in the ChatGPT. Answer is if you're Dennis Yu, right? Yes. Press enter, and then I hide the screen for a minute, and then I attempt to answer the question. Then I say, okay, let's compare that with what the AI has, and the answer is very similar. In fact, some people would say, okay, whose answer is better? The AI Dennis or like the real Dennis? And a lot of the times the AI Dennis has a better comprehensive answer because it remembers like, oh yeah, I did write that article, but yeah, there's that one thing I forgot to mention. And
it has a perfect memory. It has a perfect
memory.
I
knew it. So if you put all your stuff into the AI for it to know who I know this is like the Borg will assimilate you, resistance is futile, like your whole mind's been uploaded to the internet. I mean, that's not what I'm trying. It's not some sci-fi thriller thing, but you put your information in there, the AI can do the work for you, right? But the reason why most real estate agents are failing is they haven't uploaded the stuff for the AI to start to play, right? It's that simple.
It's like we're people, yet we're not giving the tools the information that would allow us to stand out, that would allow us to get those listings, to allow us to get those leads and just work with more people. And, one of the people, the number one determining factor that, a seller would use, for example, in choosing their real estate agent is the agent's reputation. And what you're talking about is these tools can create and amplify your reputation online in a way that really didn't exist in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, none of this stuff existed that would allow us to be able to do what we can today, especially as someone who's not a tech person, who's not an engineer. We can use these tools in a very easy way. Now, I have a question. If anyone wants to learn more about any of the strategies that you talk about, because you're a big proponent of teaching people how to do, Facebook ads and social media ads on $1 a day and making videos and being able to create that content factory, where can they learn more about doing this?
They can literally ask ChatGPT, or they can go to Google, they can go to YouTube, they can go to the internet, they can go wherever they want and start asking these questions. That's literally all you have to do. If you find these tools intimidating, even though I think it's just conversational, fine, just adopt. I'm sure you have a son or daughter or some other friend, and you can pay them to do this instead of Fortnite or whatever they're doing, and they'll do fantastic work for you. Because the ingredients of your relationships and the things that sellers want to find out about you are what really counts.
Well, if you've liked what you've heard today, please take a moment to like this video, drop a comment, ask a few questions, and definitely subscribe to our channel. Thank you, Dennis, and we'll see you online in the next episode.